I can flex it based on where we're at.
I have thoroughly examined these changes in rules, and I'm here to tell you that this kickoff is interesting.
Are you our new Gene Steratore?
My only complaint is that the onside kick has been neutered.
Coy Pond, we've royally messed up. We recorded this entire episode and completely forgot to do an intro.
Intro.
Welcome to podcast number 20. We made it. We're here.
Woo!
I think we're in the middle of a discussion about some NFL team. I think it was rule change is what we started out with
Rule
this
changes,
episode.
very
Kickoff.
important. Very important.
Hey, stay tuned. We're about to go into every NFL team. Just kidding. We basically ranted for 40 minutes. But I hope you guys enjoy the episode, and we'll see you next week. Yeah. Neutered.
Because you have to declare it, so it's like, what's the fucking point?
Yeah, I think the
onside kick is kind of a cool. I know it's rare, but it's an exciting play when it's on.
It was an excited play.
It's gone.
I think it's been gone for a few years now, though.
Yeah. Did you know the fastest play in NFL history was an onside kick that was returned for a touchdown? 3 seconds off the clock. The fastest scoring play in the history of the NFL.
Was it a squib kick?
It was an onside kick that was picked up on the run by the receiving team and run back for a touchdown.
Wow.
3 seconds he was in the end zone.
What season? Do you know what season or year?
Bill Parcells was a coach of the Cowboys.
Okay, so that would have been 90s?
Probably 2000 and...
Early 2000s,
Yeah, maybe early 2000s. Eagles, Cowboys. Eagles tried to surprise, and it was Andy Reid.
Oh, my God.
Tried a surprise onside kick, and I got a little thing about it.
There you go.
But fastest scoring play in NFL history.
That's crazy.
So, came from an onside kick. How relevant?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like the onside kick now for like maybe 3 years, 2 years. It feels like for a while now since they started messing with that rule, it's just been dead. It's been attempted like 3 times this past season, and
I don't know what the official stats are.
I don't know either, but it's to the point now where I'm just happy they're making a big change opposed to like a little change like they have been doing, where it means very little.
I do love the significant change with it. The kickoff itself has been so boring, if that's what you're referring to.
That's basically what I'm getting at. Is if they're going to make changes, I'd rather let's try and reinvent it and then go a half step instead of it always feeling like they like barely changed it to try and fine tune something that's clearly broken.
Yeah, it's stupid.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. So I will say that at least, because it sucks that the onside kick is gone, because the concept of the onside kick is so unique and awesome.
Yes.
But when you fine-tune the kickoff to such an extent that it's no longer even a question about what's going to happen,
right?
Redo it. Let's just revamp this thing, because it's been dead. I'm not saying I didn't like the onside kick or anything like that. But at this point,
kickoffs themselves have been beaten, moronic.
Yes,
I agree.
They've been beaten down so badly.
Agree.
That it's like, why the fuck even have it? And so that's why I'm happy they did this at the very least.
I agree with you wholeheartherly on that.
It's just like, God bless it. Last year it was like 20% were taken out overall and 80% weren't.
Yeah.
Which is, there was like 10,000, I think I saw the number, was dead plays basically, that it would just fly out the back.
Right. Yeah, so now I guess we'll lead off with, here we are, the kickoff, right?
Yeah.
So the rule changed by the NFL. Mm-hmm. So now the kicking team will stand at the opposing team's 40.
Right.
The receiving team will stand at the 35.
Mm-hmm.
They're standing 5 yards apart.
Right.
And the kicker is back on the 35.
Yeah,
on the other side.
Because there's the zones now.
Yes. He will kick to the receiving guy who's somewhere around the goal line, the 10, something like that. And they cannot run. The two offensive defense, receiving and kicking, cannot run until he catches the ball.
Right.
So I don't know what the rule is if the ball hits the ground and isn't caught.
The Pat McAfee show had an awesome graphic for it that I'll probably just
showed the zones.
Yeah, I'll probably just rip it off and throw it
up there. Yeah,
because it's
confusing as fuck
to talk about it from any of us that have watched the game for so long.
Even then, it's confusing.
It's confusing.
I agree.
But they have an awesome graphic that explains it all, and it will be interesting because I know the kicker can't start charging now until he also catches it or it's bounced or whatever the rule ends up being.
That's right. And so it's very much a ripoff of the XFL.
Yep.
With a tweak, I believe.
I think there's a tweak on the entire thing so that, they don't have to credit the awesome guy that came up with it.
Yep. If a team is trailing in the fourth quarter, they may declare an onside kick by notifying the referee then. The referee will then notify the receiving team. Here we go again. It's the Cowboys-Lions game where the referee has to notify the other team.
Because that works so well.
Yeah. Oh, that works so well, yeah.
Yeah.
So that means no more surprise onside kicks. And the actual onside kick will look the same. So nothing changes in terms of the structure of the kick itself. It will be exactly the same. You line up exactly the same as you always have.
Interesting.
So anyway, there's a little scoopage on that one.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
I'm curious if anybody even attempts the onside kick. I feel like they won't. But I'm interested to see what receiving teams or what special teams coordinators start to do with that kickoff. Yeah. Because though there was one in the XFL that they did a flea flicker and ran it back for a touchdown.
Yeah.
And it was a sweet play. And, if that, I'm not saying just because the XFL, if that's the best they did, the ceiling for the NFL is that much higher. But with all these speed demons coming out of the combine this year,
right,
you're assuming someone's going to come up with something genius for that.
Yeah, and I mean, you got the Steelers immediately signed Cordell Patterson,
who will be one of the best at that, given his physique and how he is.
So, good on them for being on top of that one, right?
Not to mention Arthur Smith being with the Steelers now. He's going to be like, yes, give me that old man.
Yeah.
That beast.
It was 6:08 a.m. the same day NFL owners approved the new kickoff rule. It was 4:13 in the afternoon when the Steelers signed Patterson.
Oh my God.
So they're on it.
That's hilarious. I'm not surprised at all, but it's funny as hell.
Pretty crazy, huh?
I would imagine the Falcons don't want him anymore, and Arthur Smith's Arthur Smith, and immediately sees somewhere for him to put this guy.
Yeah.
Especially with the new kickoffs, no doubt.
Yeah.
So funny.
So interesting deal.
It will be. I'm excited for it, and I'm scared all at the same time. Or not scared, that's the wrong word, but I'm excited for it. It'll be cool to watch.
Yeah, something different.
If that means, because even in the games I've been to the last few years, it's gotten boring watching kickoffs.
It has. It's terrible.
It's break.
The worst playing football.
It's a break. You watch the kickoff. It's another break. Yep. TV, in person, no matter what. It's the worst part of football right now.
Yeah,
or it was.
Would say. Oh, no doubt.
So maybe that'll change. That'd be cool.
Yep.
I could do it. I could do with a little spice.
Yep, definitely.
But like I said, anything to make it fresh, I think is good.
The tush push has been continued.
Yeah.
Again, I my favorite thing is Troy Vincent is the guy coming out from the NFL office. In case anyone's wondering, Troy Vincent played for the Eagles. But, let's keep the tush push in there. The brotherly shove, whatever the hell you want to call it.
The Eagles struggled enough. I mean, the tush push only gives you so much of a range, and that's because this analytics thing for going on at fourth down is so huge. I never minded it. Teams will figure it out this offseason. They just didn't figure it out because no one thought about it last season except for the Eagles.
And it would be very interesting to see, you made this point when we were talking the other day, how does the absence of Jason Kelce, because again, between Hurts and Kelce, I mean, you're talking about a lot of squat weight.
Yeah, leg
Those
power
two guys
between
together,
the two of them is crazy.
And if you don't have that, it's all about getting underneath the guy in front of you. So.
And who knows? Everyone claimed last year it was Jason Kelce, and that's the difference. And maybe it is. Maybe it's Jalen Hurts. Who knows? But, all these teams will now figure out other ways to do it. They bring in a fullback that has that power, they think.
Right.
Do other teams come up with trick tush-push plays?
Probably.
There's
all kinds of shit you could run out of it.
There's going to be so many different variants with it that I don't necessarily think the Eagles were that best at it. I think they just came up with it
first at it.
And that gives you a whole year of an advantage that no one else prepared for. Because it's not that easy to switch your game plan mid-season.
No.
As it is not that easy to switch your game plan at halftime.
That's right.
So everyone comes out, the halftime difference. Yeah, it exists, but that's just teams in general. So
I think the other big one was the banning of the hip
drop tackle.
Players have been coming out really critical of that decision.
I've seen both sides.
Have you?
I've seen on Twitter at least both sides. The side of it's ridiculous has been a lot louder, but I think more people agree with how many players got injured on those sorts of tackles was way too high. There was all these defenders like Richard Sherman and some of these other legendary defenders coming out saying, how the hell are we supposed to tackle the offense now? Which I don't blame them. If that's not, even if you weren't taught that way to tackle, which I don't play football. I have no fucking clue.
Yeah.
But if that's not how you were taught to tackle, but it's how you tackle some people, I can understand the frustration with, Derrick Henry. How the hell do you tackle him if you can't put all your weight on him anymore?
Sure.
But at the same time, there's a lot of these running backs coming out and different players coming out saying, thank God this is what ended my career. Hopefully it ends with me type of thing.
Yeah.
Which is equally as, concerning, I would say.
Yep.
But again, it's the NFL adding another piece to the defense that they can no longer do to make their jobs harder and to make the offenses more exciting. I'm not saying it's a conspiracy theory, but there's been very little done to help defenses and a lot more done to help offenses in the last 5 years, rule change-wise.
That is definitely true. They're certainly trying to make it,
more exciting.
More exciting, right?
And
scoring's exciting.
What makes, if scoring's more exciting, that means higher viewership. If there's higher viewership, that means more money. If there's more money, that means happy old white men. And
That's right.
A couple other, of course. But
Yep.
just in general, it's so clear that anything to help viewership, if they can make those chain links connect to the end of more money,
Right.
I think it's always going to be an easier job for them to get there.
Right.
And, referees trying to throw penalties on hip drop tackles if they happen, that's going to be a fucking nightmare.
Yep.
Is
it reviewable?
I would almost start taking, any on these sports books, early on they always offer these someone to break the record. Sack record, rushing record, receiving record. All of the records in the NFL basically are available to bet on up until the season starts. I'm trying to figure out which record's getting broken this year with basically having the extra game. Now they can't hip drop tackle, so there's certain players that are going to have an easier time doing more.
Right.
Do you throw the house on Derrick Henry to, be the all-time rusher this year?
Yeah.
Do you put Derrick Henry to be, break any records? There's got to be something in there that plays a line to it, parallel.
Do I hear you placing another bet on the Ravens? Am I here? Is that what I?
Maybe. I mean, that's what Derrick Henry is now.
Well,
fuck it.
That's right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
When you're saying that, I'm thinking, I hear a justification of a second bet on the Ravens
not
coming into play.
necessarily the Ravens.
Perhaps.
I have not picked my dark horse team this year.
But
2 years ago, I did the Eagles, and that's the year they went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Won that one. Last year, I did the Ravens.
Yep.
Fucking Chiefs crippled me, but I hedged it, so we're okay.
But again, you certainly have to say, if you liked them last year, you like them better with Derrick Henry.
It's because the running game's not crippled yet.
So,
they've lost how many running backs in the last 2 years? It's been like 4 or 5.
Somebody's going to win.
Yeah.
Henry's been a great back, been able to stay pretty durable. Mm-hmm. The Ravens haven't been able to keep a back on the field. Which one of these things gives?
Yeah, I completely agree. The only problem is with the Ravens for me is that they've lost a lot of their front office to the Chargers.
They did.
And that's the only reason I know it is because they lost, half the guys that loved John Harbaugh that are sick of the Ravens went to go with Jim Harbaugh, who's with the Chargers, for a fresh start.
It's crazy. And I think a lot of that is Jim Harbaugh had the relationship with his coaches had kind of gone its course.
Right.
He didn't dislike them. No. He didn't want them.
Mm-hmm.
And so there you go.
You get the brother, which,
was pretty wild, right?
The stats from Jim Harbaugh from the teams when his first year to their last year without him is crazy difference. So the hype is real for Jim Harbaugh. I can't wait for the Chargers organization to fuck it up somehow. But, yeah, it'll be interesting. There's going to be a way to play these rules so that, we all win money. And I'll be doing my research for the next several months to figure out how we're making millions of dollars from the sports books this year.
And by the way, just a little encouragement for you since we're talking about Jim Harbaugh. I said Jim Harbaugh. I meant John Harbaugh from the Ravens. Yeah. But Jim Harbaugh, we'll put this up here. I'll send this to you.
Yeah.
Everywhere he has gone. So he's coached 5 teams.
Is this the record?
4 teams.
The year before he was there and the year after he was there?
So was it San Diego State, I think?
Yeah. It was. Yeah, it was one of those.
Yeah. College. So 800 winning percent to 829. That's the closest one. Stanford, he took from .083 to .58.
Yeah.
49ers, he took from .375 to .688. Michigan, he took from .417, and we'll put it up here, .781.
It's crazy.
The Chargers are .294. So
I like the improvement odds.
I think it's going to be a pretty good time.
I'm curious to see what the win totals are. That'll be something I'm looking at. That'll be when I start really giving out futures bets, which keep watching the podcast. As I see stuff I like, I'll put it in my notes to tell you guys, because it will change throughout the season. When those markets open, just spitballing here, the Cowboys might be a win total of over under 9.5. I don't know what it would really be realistically. Yeah. But, if everyone hammers the over, that'll move to 10.5, 11.5 by the start of the season. So I always keep my eyes on those markets early, as we will be giving out picks for the draft coming up at some point in the next few weeks. I think we still have like a month before that happens.
We are almost exactly 1 month from the draft.
So the next few weeks, look for us to start giving out some picks. Like I've said in the past, Kevin is a money machine when it comes to the draft, so I can endorse those picks for sure. But we're slowly getting there, and just keep you guys updated with that stuff.
Be great stuff. They did announce a couple scheduling things. The Texans and the Bears will play in the Hall of Fame game on August 1st in Canton, Ohio.
Right.
So C.J. Stroud comes back to the Ohio area.
Good for him.
And then let's see, what else did we find? We found out there are going to be 2 Wednesday, Christmas Day,
the Christmas games.
So I don't know how many Wednesday games the NFL has ever had, but there you go. There's 2.
Hey, you know what? Fuck you, NBA. Christmas is for the NFL.
I'm sure that the NBA is just loving that to death.
Well, that's what happens.
As the NFL continues to raise its middle finger.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of it. It gives me something to watch on Christmas now.
I think it's hysterical. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, we have the Black Friday game again, I'm assuming.
I would say. We just haven't heard that yet. But anyway.
It should be confirmed. They haven't confirmed teams yet of who's going to play that game.
So the NFL team owners are meeting currently. Yeah. They're in their 3rd day of meetings, and that will continue, and I believe those are in Vegas.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
We'll hear, I'm sure, some more information before the end of the week about all that.
Yeah.
The other one change was, I always kind of wondered about this, a trade deadline for the NFL.
Right.
Why so early?
I've never really known.
It doesn't make any sense. Why can't you trade until the very end?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the point is if your team is out of it, it's to keep you from being able to
load up maybe right before
send somebody to a prime team, I guess.
Yeah.
But they did move it back a week, so it goes
from
week 9 to week 10 now, I think.
That sounds about right.
And
right in there.
So they're kind of setting it up to add that 18th week probably next season is what they're saying.
Now,
so
while we switch subjects onto the 18th week, did the one you heard about? I heard a couple variations. I heard one that would make everyone happy, or one variation of having an 18-week NFL season is giving the teams 2 byes, 16 games.
Yes.
Is that what you were also hearing?
I've heard the same thing.
Does that not feel like a win-win for everybody?
It really does.
Because then it would push it back so that the following day after the Super Bowl, or wait, is that already how it is? The Super Bowl day after is like a bank holiday?
I think it was 1 week off this year.
Okay, so then
that's
that would
what
push
they're
it
gunning
back.
for.
That's what they want to.
Because they want the Super Bowl to be a holiday.
Because then it'd be more viewership because no one would have to get up the next day.
Correct.
Which I'm all for.
They've been talking about this for like 5 years.
And it feels like
probably longer.
And I feel crazy, let us know if you feel otherwise, but it feels like everyone wins if they 18-week season and you play it one less game if they add a second bye.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah.
The players always complain about playing more games.
Yeah.
In this system, they played one less than they currently do.
Right.
And we get an extra week of football that adds into everyone having Super Bowl Monday off.
I've already been listening to former players talk about the Wednesday games this year.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see how teams play the week before. Because if it's a Thursday, you're getting 4 days.
Yeah.
Now you might be getting 3. And just about the impact of that on the bodies and stuff like that.
I feel like they'll figure out a way so that it's just as consistent because they're already getting so much backlash from like this past season having an extra game, adding the Friday night game. I feel like they're ahead of that, but who knows? We'll have to see.
A lot of discussion that I'm seeing about the Vikings trading up to 3 with the Patriots. So that they can get a quarterback.
Yeah, Vikings.
So and now we're hearing more rumors about the Commanders being interested in J.J. McCarthy. So
that would be wild.
Caleb Williams looks like the clear number 1.
I would say he's a lock for number 1.
But it's interesting now. There's starting to be a little bit of chatter about 3.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens there. We were talking the other day about 4 quarterbacks in the first 4 picks.
Yeah. I mean,
which still is highly possible.
it feels like J.J. McCarthy's stock is only just like skyrocketed out of nowhere. I don't know if that's,
Harbaugh talking him up, or his pro day was really that good.
I mean, it's liar season. And every coach feels differently about what you can teach versus what you need when it comes to drafting a quarterback. And I think it was Harbaugh was saying this. I'm not going to find the quote because it's all jumbled into Twitter now. But I think Harbaugh was saying he's the only real quarterback out of the 4 of them, in the sense that his throwing power, precision, accuracy type of thing. But I don't know, I don't know what's more teachable and what's less teachable. It's not like we're legitimate scouts, but the hype is real, and it's Lion season, so who knows if all of that is, Harbaugh just trying to pump up his guys to make him look better, which is very understandable,
right?
Or if he really is that good.
Yeah.
But, they won the national championship, so there's got to be something to it. I'm not saying I think J.J. McCarthy should go over Caleb Williams by any means.
Right.
Because I haven't paid enough attention to it, but it's just interesting to hear about it. Drake May and Jane Daniels are still in the mix. Jane Daniels LSU had their pro day today. He was looking good.
Yep.
I mean, who knows? It's going to basically – it feels a little bit like the 2019 draft where Herbert, Tua, Burrow, and Jalen Hurts all went, where it was kind of like you have your list of players you like, and as they get picked, you cross off the top guy until it's your turn, and then you just take whoever's the top of your list.
Yep.
And I have no opinion or feeling on if Caleb Williams – Jane Daniels, Drake May, or J.J. McCarthy will be the best in 20 years when we revisit it, or 10. We've been reviewing it at a 10-year rate, so
yeah, right.
But who knows? It's all situational,
right?
Caleb Williams could go on the Bears with these decent wide receivers and be good. Drake May could go on the Commanders, have no wide receivers except Drake London or Terry McLaurin.
Oh yeah,
and be terrible because the team's ass. Austin Eckler's not going to be somebody on that team. And, Drake May could go to the Patriots.
Right.
And they have okay receivers with Hunter Henry, be ass.
Right.
And, we might have 5 Josh Rosens here. We might have a Sam Darnold, and we might have Joe Burrow.
That's right.
Honest to God. I'm getting worked up.
There's
so many factors.
So many factors. And when these top people go to a shit program, and look at what the Bears are doing. They are taking Caleb Williams. They're already building the team around. That's what you have to do.
Yes.
It doesn't make sense to just get the guy and let him get killed.
No, I completely agree.
And by the way, you mentioned LSU having its pro day today. Malik Neighbors.
Oh, yeah. Skyrocketing.
So Marvin Harrison not having a pro day, didn't do anything at the combine, nothing.
Right, he hasn't been to anything.
Neighbors, now they're saying, is jumping over Harrison Jr., and we'll see what happens there. But if the Patriots would be brilliant to trade that pick to the Vikings.
Yes.
Because they seem to be comfortable with who they have now quarterbacking.
It feels like it, and I don't know.
Now.
And it's new head coach, something Mayo.
Yeah, Gerard Mayo.
Mayo
used to play for him.
And who knows what he knows about their quarterback situation.
Yeah,
maybe
Jacoby Brissett, they love him.
He's been solid, and I think he started there as a backup for Tom Brady before going to the Colts and a few other places maybe.
Yeah.
But, if they're comfortable with that, stack picks. I've always been a big component about more picks gives you a better chance of hitting big.
Yeah, stack the picks, slide down. You still get a top player.
Well, if you get their 11th and 23rd pick,
that's right.
That's a huge deal.
And a first rounder for 2025.
Yeah.
So the Patriots would be, and they're rebuilding anyway.
Yeah.
That's what they should do.
This upcoming year is not supposed to be a year for them.
No. And at number 11, you're still going to get, in 23, top talent. You're going to improve more across broadly.
I completely agree.
I think that would be, if they do that, that's brilliant.
Yes, best case scenario, and I think they're in a good spot to do that. And, between Neighbors and Marvin Harrison Jr., I don't know.
Can't go wrong.
I don't think you can go wrong on either one.
No.
I will say Marvin Harrison Jr., having Marvin Harrison as his father, I would slightly lean there because the ears in, how do I say it? The people in his camp have been there, done that.
Yeah.
The odds that he makes a better decision if something came to doing this or that, I'd lean him a little bit. But again, I think he's had a couple injuries in college. I don't know how legit those were because his dad knows how to play this so that he gets to the NFL. And then once you get to the NFL, if all of that was a fugazi, so be it, because then you're ready to have, your career.
Your reliability of the pedigree.
Yes.
The reliability of the pedigree of somebody like that, the family, right?
That's been there, done that.
I go back to the Cowboys draft when they took Taco Charlton from Michigan, who turned out to be nothing. For God's sake, they passed on T.J. Watt. The Steelers took him right after that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's sitting there. I'm like, the last name alone puts him over a guy named Taco.
Yeah.
Even if he is a Supreme.
And you see, that's where I understand where Malik Neighbors' draft stock is rising.
Yeah.
But who knows if that means that, Marvin Harrison doesn't want to go to the Chargers. And his camp is putting out that Malik Neighbors is the next god. And every draft camp, every team is doing certain things on the media to make players they don't want but want the next guy to seem better.
Good.
And it's all a fucking fugazi right now. And that's what's hard to sift through is we've thought throughout many years that a certain player would go higher, or this draft was all going to be this in the first round, when in reality it's like 5 linemen have gone and we're yet to see a running back get drafted where he was projected in the top 10. So I still think Marvin Harrison probably goes before Neighbors.
Yeah.
But I'm only basing it off of the fact that everything's bullshit.
Yeah.
So
right.
I could be wrong.
I mean, you're right. That's probably a really good way to look at it is take how they were rated like
way before
like
any
60
of this.
days
Yes.
ago. And that's probably more accurate.
And I'm still convinced something came out that Marvin Harrison Jr. wanted to play with someone else and not the Chargers. I don't know how legit that is.
Yeah.
It was some random source. So again, I know it's probably bullshit.
Yeah.
But you have to think about all these things, because if Neighbors really wants to go to whoever's going to take him highest, then he's not going to have a problem with saying the Chargers are awesome.
Yeah.
But if Marvin Harrison Jr. doesn't want to go to the Chargers and wants to go 6 with whoever that might be, I can't remember off the top of my head, he's going to be like, oh, Neighbors looks amazing. His camp's going to put stuff in the background out, so the impressions for Neighbors are only rising, and Marvin Harrison Jr. is kind of lurking.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, all these teams already have their boards pretty much, I wouldn't say set, but
I bet they do.
They have a damn good idea at this point, and those scouts had a damn good idea by the championship game last year.
Yeah.
In my opinion. And I'm no scout.
No, I think you're right, actually. I think you're spot on. It's really interesting, too. Cowboys haven't done anything free agency.
Mm-mm.
Signed Kendricks, a linebacker from the Chargers.
Yep.
McCarthy's back for 1 year. Zimmer's got a 1-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody there is 1 year. Dak hasn't been renegotiated, no extension, no nothing.
It feels like they're just...
And he's going to be $55 million. Very interesting. You heard Dion come out this week and say, his son is going to be Eli Manning. He's not going anywhere.
I saw that.
I'm telling you, what I got in my gut, Jerry Jones loves Deion Sanders.
Right.
If Jimmy Johnson is in Jerry's ear,
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy likes Deion, even though Deion didn't play for him when he was in Dallas.
Right.
He knows a winner. They're going to give this one shot, and it's an audition for everybody on that team
to keep their job for the following year.
For wherever they're going next.
Right.
Dak is not coming back. McCarthy's not coming back. They're gonna tank it, do the best they can. They don't care if they're the shittiest team, so they get the number 1 pick, because they're gonna take Sanders' kid at quarterback and replace him, Dak, and Primetime is going to become the head coach of the Cowboys. And I'm telling you right now,
okay,
that is what is lining up.
That's how the stars are looking for
these tidbits. It hit me a couple days ago, and I'm like, son of a bitch. Listen to this line over here and this line over here, and they haven't pulled it together yet.
Right, but there's a solid path based on
the evidence
how it's been.
is all there.
Interesting.
For Sanders' kid and for Dion to be the coach. Jerry knows that'll sell tickets no matter what happens.
Well,
look at Colorado.
Yeah, well, I mean, not to mention, regardless of him doing that to Colorado, but Deion Sanders in Dallas. I mean, people are going to buy those season tickets quickly if that name starts floating around as a possible head coach.
And Dak next offseason is going to be, like we've always compared, the Kirk Cousins of this year.
Yes.
So, I'm just telling you. Those are the dots I'm connecting now.
I can see it for sure. And now that you say it, it's
pretty crazy.
It's not out of the realm of possibilities with how the last few years with Dion have gone, and the fact that the Cowboys have yet to really make a move.
Get over the hump, make a move. It doesn't make any sense, even for them.
Right.
the old Jerry, the old Steven, hey, Dak, yeah, hey.
And, it felt like that for a few seasons at least.
But what's different about this one is not signing any free agents.
Yes.
That's completely different than they've been.
And they're not going into this with no plan.
No.
So then it's an even grander plan that it's been this quiet opposed to the...
It's not normal. Again, Micah, CD, Jerry's comments yesterday from the owners' meeting. CD is a star. He's going to be a star for someone.
Oh, Jesus. Trade for picks. Trade up. Get more.
Yep. So I really think there's a major just wipe it clean, start over.
I don't hate it.
And it makes sense. If Jimmy is in Jerry's head, he's telling him, what you got here is not going to do shit.
You got a bunch of losers,
It
Jerry.
hadn't done shit.
Sadly.
Yep.
Yeah.
But Jimmy...
Hey,
Dion.
Yeah.
I get it. So I'm telling you.
Every time you come in here mad this upcoming NFL season, I'm going to replay this clip for us.
Replay it.
But, that's kind of what the Chargers did, kind of. On a much smaller scale.
No, but it's true.
Mike Williams.
You did.
Keenan Allen. The fact they kept Bosa and Khalil Mack is beyond me. I love it because I think they played differently for a respectable coach.
I think so too.
Staley was not respectable.
Those guys would be superstars for Harbaugh.
Yes, and
Harbaugh's
he will
bring it around him. He'll bring accountability.
Yeah, Derwin James, he's still there. I mean, there are some dogs on defense that I think just have not been used correctly in Staley's defense.
Yeah.
So and then they wiped the offense clean. No Austin Eckler, no Keenan Allen, no Mike Williams.
You got rid of all those.
They're gone.
Yep.
Everett Ingram. Ingram Everett, you guys know who I'm talking about. Number 7, the tight end.
Yeah.
He's gone. He brought in a blocking tight end.
Yep.
He's brought in a couple other keys to the defense and the offense.
Right.
I'm convinced the Chargers did a small-scale version of what you expect next year to be.
Yeah, and I hadn't even thought about it until you just said it, but you're right. The Cowboys are doing what the Chargers already did.
And
it's exactly right.
And it's like, get rid of everyone on offense because it's not working. And I completely agree. A lot of Chargers fans were pissed. Not at Austin. Everyone loved Austin Eckler leaving. But Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, that sucks, and I get it, and I felt the same way. But you have to think about if it hasn't worked, it's probably not going to work at this point.
You're right. So blow it up. Why kill yourself? Why go to
try it again?
Hell,
yes.
Right? Because you got to get these rookie deals. It's exactly what the Bears are doing.
It's the new way to play football
in the
NFL.
You got to bust it every 3-4 years at the most.
Yeah.
And then recycle it if it hasn't worked.
I sincerely think that the years of having a team, not dynasty, because that makes it sound like too much.
Right.
But having a team that has a similar core offense and defense for 5 to 8 years is gone.
It's gone.
It's a thing of the old. You will, from here on out, it started with running backs.
Yeah.
You will from here on out have to accept they're going to draft rookies that have to be prepared because that's the new.
That's the way.
That's the new norm.
Yeah.
In order to have a good, young, cheap team.
Yep. Unless you've got an ultra quarterback superstar,
or you've got
Pat Mahomes, Tom Brady. Those are, and even those guys.
Right, your core tight end, your core safety, your core linebacker, like you're gonna have those. I'm not saying those are gone, but having the same 3 stack of wide receivers every year that just lights up a defense, it's gone because one of them's gonna ask for too much money.
Right.
One of them's gonna actually one of them's actually gonna be the one you keep. And the other guy's either going to decide to take a pay cut and stay, or he's going to be like, I can go get more money on the Panthers, where they're just trying to find a team.
Yep, and that's why I think when Jerry's making comments like that about CeeDee Lamb,
he knows
he's setting something up that someone's not going to be there.
I agree, and frankly, you saw it with the Bills, you're seeing it with the Bengals, you saw it with the Chargers, you're seeing it with few other teams. Chiefs. Fuck, Snead's gone.
Right.
He wanted all the money. They tagged him. He wasn't happy.
Yeah, again, look at what the Titans have done with that team in a short amount of time. So, and here's another thing that ties back to what you just pointed out to me. The Chargers are showing the Cowboys the way. Stan Kroenke, the owner of the Chargers, is a great personal friend of Jerry Jones.
Spanos?
Stan is. Wait a minute. Stan's the Rams, I think.
He might be.
Yeah, Spanos. But anyway,
Kroenke almost did it. I mean, they were supposed to have a rebuild year last year,
right.
And they fucking had found Puka, and they ended up going to the playoffs.
Yeah, where did they get him in? Like the 5th round, 6th round,
5th or 6th. He was like,
it's insane.
They showed all of the wide receivers at one point, and he was the last one picked, but he had the best production almost.
But you got to have that right blend, and then you got to build it through the draft.
I completely agree.
And all these teams these retreads that people are signing, think about it, the Titans, the Bears,
Yes.
the Commanders.
Steelers.
Steelers. These are teams that, for the most part, except for maybe the Steelers, are starting from zero.
Right.
So they've got so much broad need and they've got so much money. That's the commonality. They're not in cap hell yet.
No, they're in a cap spend.
Yep.
Like they have to spend money.
But again, if you're in that level where you spent this money, frankly, and your quarterback has this percent of you got to move on because you don't have enough money left.
No.
And once these quarterbacks get in there and start having success, they go like that, wham, rocket ships.
And I completely agree. And it seems like every year you're only going to have, out of the 32 starting quarterbacks, you're only going to probably have about 10 that are worth it.
Yeah.
And 10 is loose. So that switches from year to year, obviously, but you're looking for the averages. Who's going to averagely be in that top 10 is who you can afford to pay.
Right.
Because at the very least, then you have players coming in willing to take pay cuts, knowing that he's a guy.
Yeah. And look at that. I mean, Dak, for example, Kirk Cousins starts with him. Atlanta. Look at what a difference he's going to make for them.
I know.
So it fits for their situation.
And he's done nothing in his career.
Nothing. But
that's a difference.
But look at what an upgrade he is for.
No, yeah, from Ritter or Mariota or whoever they had.
So I could very easily see next year. We could be talking about the Patriots. Mm-hmm. We could be talking about the Vikings.
Yep.
We could be talking about any of those teams like that where Dak might be a great fit and a steal for them.
Mm-hmm.
Commanders, maybe.
Yeah, could be.
Dan
honestly.
Quinn.
It'll all depend on which one of them take. How many? Dak Prescott will end up being the best quarterback at whoever trades with the Vikings.
Yeah.
Because the other three probably take. Sorry. Whoever doesn't trade with the Vikings, the three teams that don't, will end up having their quarterback for at least 2 years probably. Whether he's a bust or not, I would assume they don't Josh Rosen him.
Yeah.
But then the team that traded out of that probably doesn't get a quarterback maybe later in the draft, but they'd probably go with, interior stuff to just try and get the trenches good.
Right.
And then that team is in position the following year to do that.
Right.
But who knows?
Yeah,
it'll be crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
For a Cowboys fan, I mean.
Yep.
For the scenarios you've laid out, it makes it very exciting.
I just think that the silence is deafening, and it speaks tons about something big is cooking.
Right. They don't want to sign anybody to multi-year deals because if it doesn't work, you don't want to have to deal with them.
And worst scenario, we're horrible next year, and we get a top 5 draft pick.
It's at the end of the day, it's still the Cowboys organization. They will find a way not to be bottom 16.
Yeah.
For long is all I'm saying.
Not for long. Yeah.
Next year, it might be blown up, but I'll save this little clip to the side, and we'll play it every time you come in ready to shoot someone. But
right on.
Man, it's a wild time in the NFL.
It really is.
We just actually burned about 40 minutes just talking about that.
That's insane.
Doesn't feel like we were ranting that long.
No.
I kind of blacked out there for a second, I think.
Well, we had a lot of stuff we ran through.
We did.
That's what we do.
We kind of laid out the future of the NFL in about 20 minutes.
We did. And that's what it is, though. This thing actually charges us up.
It does.
Because, I mean, I don't know if we talk about this some, I think, but
we'd have the same conversation if we were getting lunch.
Yeah, we record this at the end of a work day.
Yeah.
On Wednesday, and Colin does his magic into the wee hours of the morning, which
sometimes.
I mean, again, this guy right here. I mean, all the graphics and all the things you see that pop up here, and the stuff I screw up and he covers over, but does a fabulous job.
Thank you, people. Please.
I know our audience and subscribers appreciate it greatly. So do I. But we just get in here and all of a sudden now I'm energized.
Well, it's like a flip switches because I go from I need to stare at this rack that we're building for the for my 5th, 6th hour on it, that I come in here and I'm like, so the NFL, I'm like,
yeah.
Wilson will not make it as a Steelers quarterback, and here's why. But it's nice. It's a little escape, but
no, it really is.
That's wild. Yeah, I'm trying to think, do we miss anything with the NFL in that regard? Because we covered basically everything that's happened in the last week.
We hit a lot. I mean, the rule changes. I wanted to make sure to get those. Go ahead.
Speaking of Wilson, I didn't mean to say it, but I said it. It sounds like he's actually going to be in a quarterback race or a quarterback competition with Justin Fields, and there's a chance he gets cut.
Yes.
Which it's not a bad thing because they only paid $1 million for him.
It's a steal, right? It's a rental.
But I mean, do you think Justin Fields has any chance of starting week 1?
I do. Because I think Justin Fields actually is a better fit than Russell Wilson is. And I think Justin Fields wants to be there. He recognizes it. He's hungrier, I think, than Russell Wilson is.
I would imagine he's pissed off about the Bears situation.
He didn't want to leave, and some of those players that are with Chicago still aren't happy that they got rid of him.
It's not quite a stab in the back, but it's not far from it.
Yeah, I mean,
honestly, it doesn't get talked about a lot because of all the moves they made.
Right.
It gets kind of blanketed under everything else.
You know, the other thing that kind of flew under the radar, because, I mean, all that happened really quick.
It was 3
days.
Russell
Wilson, Justin Fields. But what you didn't see under the bottom there, because last week, I think we even touched on it, Mason Rudolph was like, I want the hell out of here.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's been dealt yet. Do you remember?
I don't, signed somewhere else?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
I wouldn't be surprised if was he with the Bills? Did I see that?
Before? Oh,
no.
Maybe so. Is
that where he went?
I think he went somewhere already.
I think he did too.
Yeah.
I remember reading his name twice, which means a drop and a pickup. But
we hadn't. The tough thing is when you follow the stuff on Instagram, some of these things that happened a month ago regurgitate.
Yeah,
and it's not always the current. Breaking news doesn't mean breaking news.
No, not like it used to, especially on Twitter. You got all these random accounts just going, breaking this rumor is a rumor. And it's like, thank you. That probably will never happen.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing, too, is I know that Brandon Ayuk is running into some...
Yeah, they said he might...
negotiation issues. And
they'd be looking to trade him, potentially.
So he... John Lynch says, we want Ayuk to be a part of the Niners, so we're going to work towards making that a reality. And then Brandon Ayuk put out some cryptic thing.
That's right.
On Twitter that basically said, stop this, the shit talk or something like that. We'll have it here.
I can. Yeah.
But anyway, it doesn't sound like that's going all that well.
It doesn't. And the irony in it, though, is it's like, wasn't he... how do I want to say this? Wasn't he hurt last year for a good amount of the season?
He was, yeah.
So, you can be pissed, but also if they found a system without you that works, they're not going to switch everything for the last few games of the season.
Yeah, exactly.
At least I would assume if the other way worked just as well. And given, that was the best Chiefs defense we've seen in numerous years, but, I don't know. There's a weird spot where NFL players get paid so much and expect so much that it'll always be a disconnect for me personally, that I'm like, if they found a system that worked without you because you got hurt, how are you mad that they're not switching back to your system just because you're in the game?
Yeah.
I get that he's an X factor. I'm not saying he's bad or, quit being a crybaby, but there's always going to be some disconnect for me for not understanding players that don't just go, what's my role? How do we win? Given the system that's already worked. And, you have to have that level of swag and...
right.
What's it when you're full of yourself?
Confidence.
Ego.
Ego.
You have to have an ego to be in the NFL type of thing. So I get it from that stance.
Right.
But, all these trade talks going out about Ayuk are mind-boggling. Because I can only imagine what you'd have to give up to get him.
Yeah. I mean, if you could, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
But they're not going to give him away, that's for sure.
And it sounds like Justin Jefferson's probably not leaving either, which is what I kind of expect. But they're in a good spot right now, having that other pick too now.
They are.
Even if they don't trade it away.
Right.
They could use it just as easily.
Jadeveon Clowney signed with the Panthers. Is that old news? I think that was recent.
Yeah.
And Aaron Jones is being released by the Packers.
That's old news.
That's old.
He signed with the Vikings.
He did sign with the Vikings. Mm-hmm. Okay.
But yeah, man, it's and we didn't even touch on the Panthers. I don't even know what's going on in that fucking organization.
Well, and see, there's somebody else that next year could be after a Dak-like situation. I don't think he's going to perform. I thought he was a bad pick in the first place.
Bryce Young.
I'm just not a fan. And he's going to be Josh Rosen. Not exactly, but...
Maybe not as bad. Because
not as bad.
You remember
Josh
the Cardinals?
Was horrible.
Well, I meant bad in the situation of the Cardinals were like, Josh Rosen's our guy. And then they draft Kyler Murray and drop him. It's like... And that was all in the same week.
I remember that draft, and I remember just being like, this guy is a mistake. I'm telling you right now.
You're talking about Bryce Young?
Sorry, Josh Rosen, back in the day. I never liked that pick from the start. I just didn't think I didn't get. He
didn't
what
look
people
like
saw
a quarterback.
Yeah,
honestly,
I just didn't get what people saw.
Yeah,
so
and it is what it is. T's and P's to that guy. Hopefully, he's playing in the new NXFL or USFN CNBCFL.
Maybe the Canadian Football League. Or something.
Maybe the CFL.
There's always another chance.
Yeah, but man, I don't know. The thing is, I don't blame Bryce Young for how that season went necessarily because he only had Adam Thielen and no other players.
True.
So, give him a year, maybe 2, and if the team you've built around him isn't any better, then you probably move on.
Yeah.
But who knows? I mean,
we'll see.
These days, teams aren't afraid to drop someone after one bad season.
No. By the way, let's just throw in here, John Gruden is back in professional football.
Yeah, where's he at?
Hired by an Italian pro football team called... Is this right?
I think it is.
Milano Seaman?
Yes, he's a part of the Seaman. You're right. I remember it was a funny name.
I had to pause there. I was like, wait, this is a joke.
No, it's not.
It's not.
Quite the suspense.
So let's just say, welcome back, John.
John, thank you for your service.
Yes.
Hopefully no one on that team that might be, a different color than you remembers any of the emails you sent. God, what a scandal that was for a bit.
Oh, my gosh.
The emails.
That guy?
That was crazy.
Good Lord.
I mean, I get you have to have some passion, but Christ. Don't think that's going to win you a popularity vote in the NFL or really any league. But
have you seen also the meme of the coaches at the owners' meeting?
Did someone? It was someone looking derpy. I've seen the pictures.
Yeah, some of them you can't even, who is this guy and that guy?
I saw, yeah.
Now, one thing interesting about this, 11 years later, so the 2013 Washington coaching staff reunited. I can't believe it's like 5 of them.
Oh, my God. The coaches that came off of that team.
What is the deal with that?
Crazy.
Raheem Morris, Mike McDaniel, Matt LaFleur, Kyle Shanahan, and Sean McVay. Yeah. That's crazy.
Can you believe that? Because that year the Redskins weren't.
Was
that
Jay
good.
Gruden that was the head coach then?
I don't know. All I know is that was RG3.
Okay.
So I can't put it in my head of who the head coach was for that specific team.
Huh.
But the fact that those 5 of them came off of that team alone is crazy because no matter how you sort it out, those are some good-ass coaches.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, to have 2 or 3 come out and be head coaches of a single season team is crazy. But to have 5?
That's pretty amazing.
It is.
Unheard of.
Yeah, no. That doesn't happen often.
No.
But good God. We basically cover the NFL. That's our time.
That it?
That's pretty much it. I can't think of anything else to cover. We'll hit the sports betting stuff next week. Okay. I don't even care. We hit a time and it was flowing.
Hey, we hope you have a nice bunny day.
Yeah.
A little hopping basket here. Celebrate Easter, whatever
of course.
Whatever you celebrate, if you're part of that. We wish you the best.
Of course, happy Easter, everybody. Hopefully, it's not one you have to wish stay safe, but hopefully
color some
you
eggs and
see the family, color some eggs, have a nice brunch, maybe.
Chill out.
Get you some scrambled eggs.
Right on.
And
I think that's all for the pond.
That's it from the pond here.
Yeah. Thank
you for watching.
Thank you.
Subscribe, like, comment. Maybe make 2 accounts. Subscribe with that second account for us.
Right on.
That's episode 20.
In the books.
We'll see you all next week. Have a great Easter. Peace.